Here we go, we should have Jim.
Okay,
Hey, Jim, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right, I'll open up this meeting of the Maynard Planning Board. Today's date is, I need glasses, I'm getting old.
23rd.
January 23rd, 2024, and the time is 7:01 PM. This meeting is in hybrid format, which means that members of the board or members of the public can participate in town hall or through the hybrid, the Zoom link online. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Since we have one member of the board online, we will do roll call for attendance tonight. And Jim, I'll start with you. Jim, can you hear us and can you participate in this meeting tonight?
Yes, I can hear you, Chris. Can you hear me?
And thank you, Jim. And then we have Bill Crenshaw.
Can you hear me, Chris?
Yes, Jim, I can hear you. Yes.
You can't hear me.
No, he said he can.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay, I am present.
Thank you, Jim. And then here in town hall, we have Bill Crenshaw, Natalie, myself, Annette, and Jeff. Well, on the board, Bill, on the board. Do we have meeting minutes tonight?
I don't have any ready for minutes ready.
All right, let's move to item 2, the public hearing, for the zoning, amendment, for firearms business and shooting ranges and associated definitions. The hearing is now open. Bill, you want to give us background on this?
Sure. The proposed amendment originated last year at the request of the zoning board. So one of our co-groups, town groups, requested that we draft some general zoning bylaw regulations to provide a framework. Because currently we have no definitions nor site-specific regulations for firearms, and they would fall under retail typically, perhaps under manufacturing in some cases. And then as we moved along, we also realized that for a shooting range, we didn't have a specific use, and that would have fallen under recreational uses most likely. So this, the purpose of this was not to provide any sort of restrictions other than limit firearms businesses to commercial districts and business districts and require a special permit. And the same restrictions would be in place for a shooting range as well. The other thing that we added were definitions to clarify some of the nomenclature, I guess, that you would typically find around firearms businesses. We did this with the assistance of the police department, with Leslie and Paul from the zoning board of appeals, and also with the executive board of the Rod and Gun Club. We wanted to make sure that all we tried to consult people as possible and groups that have interest, and we thought we did a pretty good job at reaching out. The one thing that's lacking here that you'll see at an upcoming meeting is while we did specify where firearms businesses and shooting ranges can be located, I failed to provide the use table. So we'll have to follow up with a use table at a separate meeting for that. But in the event that until that's there, the permitted zoning districts are clearly designated in the draft regulations before.
Since we're lacking the use table, is there an option to continue this hearing and then have the use table added for future?
It would add a delay that would be a minimum of probably 30 days. It would be okay timing wise, most likely, if it was the board's pleasure to do that. I apologize, that was 100% on me. Everybody else did their part, and I thought, we had that, taken care of, and I neglected to. So, it's up to the board.
Any thoughts on that continuation item?
You mean? Accepting it, but then waiting,
Close this hearing
until after we have it,
until we have it, so it's one hearing,
right?
all of it closed together.
Can it be one here?
That's what I asked, that's what I was asking. Bill.
Yeah, well, it could be the same hearing, because it hasn't been advertised, it'd be we could do it the same meeting.
Oh, it'd be two different hearings?
Yeah, because this hearing's open and it's not part of it.
Okay.
But we could, if you wanted to time it, we could time it so it was at the same meeting.
That would be obviously ideal.
The soonest I could do it is in there.
This would be this, are you suggesting this would have to be the second planning board meeting?
I couldn't get it in 14 days because I couldn't get it advertised.
But it's not 14 days, because we have more than that, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right now, we have 21 days until the next planning board hearing meeting, which is February 13th.
We have to be advertised for 2 weeks, right?
Mhm.
So we could, on the February 13th. agenda.
Here's what would be the best to do. Continue it to the February 13th, and I'll do my best. I'll know tomorrow if it's not gonna make it. We have to open it, continue it to the second one. We do that, if that's what
I'd like to discuss it tonight. We have people that joined
Yeah.
us, right? And then we can continue it.
Yeah.
And I can open up public comment again if necessary.
Yes. And again, anything that's in the table is already in the text, so
Sure.
I mean. People could discuss the locations and why they're selected or whatever the case is.
So my preference would be if it's okay for the board to go through this here, go for a hearing on this, continue it to the 13th. Ensure that we can get the use table on for that same meeting and discuss both those items on the 13th as well. Hearing no objections, I think that's the intended process, but. So what we could do is, I'll turn this over to the board in a second, but Bill, I found a couple of typos I'd like to cover,
All right,
if you don't mind.
yeah, now it's time to do
If you go to the second page of the handout, has a 1 at the bottom. It's the following definitions.
Mhm.
Under ammunition. Third line down, it says regulations, comma, period.
them.
I think the comma goes away.
Comma goes well, yep.
Go to the next page. Under section 7.2, go down to spacing requirements. Number 2, it starts with the 300-foot exclusion. Are you with me?
Yes.
And if you go to the third line there, it says activity or item. After item, I think there should be a period.
Oh, yeah, see it.
And then if you go to section 725. You with me, 725?
Yes.
See, these are itemized, 1, 2, and then it says a 3, that 3 should not be, I don't think the 3 should be there. Right, because.
Oh, I see it, yeah, you're right, yeah, okay.
And the others need to be renumbered
Renumbered, yeah, of course.
before it becomes 3.
Right, exactly.
And I think that was it. For typos.
Uh, 7.2.93,
Yeah,
under the comma.
so. Add a period after 7.297.
Mhm. So I'll take a moment and say what my perspective on this was. What I asked the team that was drafting this was to to do our best to zone this similar to how we zone other establishments in town, whether that's other types of retail or something similar, but also with the specificity that's required for this type of activity. So what I wanted was something that was right down the middle and very balanced in how we zone other activities in town. And that's what I've found we have here. I think there is a lot of hard work put into this. There's a lot of back and forth. Thanks to many people that were involved. And I've generally, I find that this is a very valuable item to consider. Did members have a chance to read through this? And yes, this is the board for the board, if there's any comments or questions regarding the problem.
I have a series of questions about the definition amendments.
Okay. I don't know if I can answer them, but I'll try my best.
So starting with the first one, the ammunition. The second complete sentence in that paragraph, could you read it out and explain what it's trying to say?
Let's see, any cartridge cases for.
Second one.
Second line, yeah, I'm just, for the purpose of this definition. Firearms is to have the meaning prescribed in this bylaw. And shall include but not be limited to firearms.
So the question is whether that belongs with the ammunition part, and the second part is what the hell does that mean?
Well, it, okay, I think if we, the purpose of the definition, firearm is to have the meaning described in this bylaw. So we just, that we define below. So if somebody asks, what ammunition, what do you mean by ammunition? And we said it was for use in a firearm, it would refer to the firearm definition immediately below. But the and shall include, but not limited to, I would say we just change it to a period there. Prescribed in this bylaw. And that, I think if the board agrees with that, I would recommend that because it,
The point is that
This
The
is the new
term-
definition right here.
right, the term firearm under the ammunition definition is referencing firearm below, right? Isn't that the point?
that's correct.
Okay, so however that's. has to be said.
So because there's, looking in different, like we looked in federal laws, we looked in state laws and whatever. There's different definitions. So we wanted to be clear, this is what we're talking about.
And if we go to firearm definition, we're referencing the MGL, so we're referencing the Massachusetts definition, right?
That's correct.
So in the ammunition definition, the suggestion is just to strike the words after bylaw.
That's correct. Put a period. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the definition of firearm, the Mass General Law 140, 121 definition of firearm, the word firearm
Yeah.
refers to handgun. Has a separate definition for rifles and shotguns and machine guns. So the 140, 121 definition of firearm only refers to handgun. And I'm not at all sure that's what we need.
Well, so, should we pull that up? We probably should pull it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's,
Handguns and short barreled shotguns. Handgun are 16.
well, yeah, that's right. If that's what it says, firearm is only a pistol under MGL?
Correct, because it defines rifles differently and shotguns differently and machine gun differently in 120, in 121 rather. But
Maybe we
the
can,
definition of firearm is only handguns in section 121.
Alright, let's see.
maybe we can lump them together.
I think that's what we intend to do.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because I think our definition is intended to be handgun, rifle, shotgun, and machine gun.
Yeah, that would be,
I think that's what we're trying to.
yeah, well, let's
But I
see.
don't know that we're doing that with this definition.
Yeah, I think you're right. If that's. Pull it up, we'll get it. See here. MGL. Okay, let's see here. Oh, now this one. Let's see. And then we can share the screen. Go. Let's share the screen. Jim, can you see that now?
Yep.
So let's see, firearm, here's firearm. Exactly. Firearm shall not include any weapon as construction.
That definition is a short barrel weapon,
Short
Yeah,
barrel.
less than-
specifically excludes long barrel weapons, which happen to be defined elsewhere in this section.
No, it says less than 16 inches or 18 inches in the case of a shotgun.
Right, it's a short barrel shotgun,
So,
but it has a definition of rifle, it has a definition of shotgun, it has a definition of machine gun.
What does this document need to refer generally to?
These are the definitions.
I know, but I'm just wondering what later on, do they refer to everything individually, or do they have a blanket term that they use?
Oh, no, they refer to everything individually, and you can see that in the definition of gunsmithing, because it references firearm, rifle, shotgun, and machine gun.
Right,
And treats them all as separate things.
well, do we want, there's rifle, sawed-off shotgun. Do we want to put all these in there? Or can we, is there a way we could?
I mean, I think our zoning bylaw definition is in trying to get the 140, 121 definition of firearm, rifle, shotgun, and machine gun.
Well, look, let's read this again. It says a stun gun or pistol, revolver, or other weapon of any description. Doesn't that?
True.
Doesn't that include all of these?
Yes, but it says further defined in 140, 121. But the definition of firearm in 140, 121 is handgun.
What if,
If we didn't have the reference to chapter
Right.
140,
right,
maybe that the any weapon thing might work.
Yeah, but the point is, we want to reference the MGL
can we
for
reference
consistency.
a larger section?
We could just reference the several definitions.
Yeah, does this section 121, can you scroll down to,
so we're not aware?
So let's just,
sorry.
keep it simple just do an example. So if we look at rifle, right?
Right.
We don't need to go cover it all, but let's use rifle as the example.
right,
A weapon having a rifled bore, yeah, okay.
Barrel greater than 16.
So this is Bill, I think this is a good opportunity for. Because we had council look at this. We had stakeholders, legal counsel look at this as well. So maybe this is something we bring back to House Council and get their input on.
Yeah, I think we definitely will have to do that, but I go back to the question. What is the advantage in this case, just in this case, of going to Mass General Law? If we truncated this definition and said a weapon of any description, loaded or loaded from which a shot or bullet can be discharged, that pretty much captures everything.
I think that's a valid question to ask council as well.
If the council is okay with that, would you guys be okay with that?
Perhaps, I have hesitancy for, anyway.
I think that we should ask about changing the firearm definition to say a stun gun or pistol, revolver, or any other weapon of any description, and throw in there, rifle, shotgun, or machine gun, right?
Including rifle.
Including rifle, shotgun, or machine gun,
Well,
as further defined in the same section, right? We're just referencing the other definitions within.
We could do that if you wanna do that, yeah.
I think.
Maybe that's
make it
easiest.
Cleaner and ask, and see if we can just get rid of it, but I think the other option is to just add in rifle, shotgun, or machine gun to our list of stun gun, pistol, revolver, and then the broad other weapon of any description.
So a pistol, revolver, add the other,
Bill, can you just inform the board of what the intent was of the team that was preparing this? Was it to simply just reference the MGL? And to have the concept of firearm be more inclusive than just a handgun?
no. I think, yes, I mean, yes, it was. I think what happened was that, if I remember, we may have put the entire section in there and it was too long.
I remember something of that nature as well.
And so I think Natalie's,
Clean it up somehow, you can say
idea might be way, and we just put,
a stun gun or pistol, revolver,
machine gun,
rifle,
shotgun.
shotgun, machine gun, or other weapon of any description.
Right, I mean, that would, and then, yeah,
And then
okay.
you can still reference the same section,
okay,
because there are definitions for all of those things.
So
I wouldn't have other weapon of any description, because that could be.
I would kick this back to council, as long as that the intent was that the firearm definition just simply matched the MGL. I presume that was the intent. If that's the case, I'm fine, just,
Well, my question is, I think our intent is more than the firearm definition. We also want a rifle definition, machine gun definition.
right,
Shotgun.
sorry, yeah, I misspoke, I agree, yeah, that's what I meant to say, yeah.
well, I think what we're saying here is too, the other thing is it was to simplify. If we put in, like, for example, okay, firearm, and then we put in shotgun as and a definition, and we put in machine gun as a definition, and we put in whatever. So I think the key would be to we want our firearm definition to include all of those, right? We don't wanna have to say, well, oh, you didn't say machine guns when you said firearms are restricted. So, yeah, I think we could probably do that.
One other option would simply be, the definition of the zoning bylaw would be firearm is a firearm, rifle, shotgun, or machine gun as defined in Mass General 140, 121.
And, yeah, we could, includes all that are, right. Yeah, okay.
They ever change.
Let me take since we're coming back anyway, I'll take a swipe at it.
You get it, so I think we can move on.
Yeah,
But the other issue with town council is it may be read that this would be a more restrictive change so that the notice for the meeting wouldn't be correct. So we would have to re-advertise. So something else for you to check with council?
No,
no, other way around.
other weapon of any description is pretty broad.
No, it would make,
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
I think it's
That's a
fine.
good point.
I don't see an issue with that.
no?
Because slingshot is a weapon, but we're not. It's not legal. so-
No, but it's just that fire is
Yeah, but
Shot or bullet, what's a shot?
a shot or bullet. I guess a slingshot.
Although, interestingly, not that it matters too much, but the definition of firearm excludes like pen guns and stuff.
What's a pen gun?
A what?
It's a pen that shoots a bullet.
And why would it exclude that?
I don't know, it just does.
Obviously.
No, but if we did it the way we're saying,
But I don't think we care too much about pen guns.
I think James Bond does.
Right.
All right, I
But,
think other weapons of any description gives us a lot of leeway, that if we're going to shorten it at all, we should be fine. But
Yeah.
put pen guns on the list,
that's a good.
work in pen gun.
There's other
And-
things, like you mentioned, it's fascinating, but,
They mentioned it in this definition,
yeah.
Really?
As excluded,
What?
as excluded.
firearm can only look like a handgun.
What if you just
It's
moved
like-
No, there's different rules.
action or
Okay, okay.
What if we just move the reference to MGL 140, 121 before the comma and description? So it would say a stun gun, pistol, revolver, or any other weapon of any description as further defined. Cause I mean, you named off a couple shotgun, rifle, whatever, but I mean, who knows how many there is in there. It's basically saying any weapon that's defined in section 121. And
But
then-
wouldn't we also say, I mean, when we say that can be loaded or unloaded, and fires a shot or bullet?
Yeah, I don't think that's helpful, but I don't think we're gonna figure it out tonight. But I really think we need some definition there, because I don't think we want to accidentally ignore rifles.
No, it did 100%. 100%.
I think Bill is enough. I think Bill is more than enough to go on.
I think I could, and I'll circulate that. I would say that. If there's, okay, yeah, I'll get it together, and, I think we've come up with something fine.
Bill Crenshaw, do you have other comments on the definition?
So the definition of firearm business,
Yeah,
subsection B says a firearm business shall not manufacture firearms, okay? The intro says gunsmithing shall be considered a firearm business, but the definition of gunsmithing excludes manufacturing of firearms.
right,
So none of this apparently applied to the manufacturing of firearms. So does that just,
Right.
that can happen wherever we allow manufacturing?
not light manufacturing.
Correct.
That, cause that we called out. So if Smith and Wesson moved into the mill, you're saying, like, and manufactured guns
Yeah,
wholesale, it doesn't address that.
okay. Hey, I don't really have a problem with it.
Right,
Just wanna
Right,
make sure-
no, we talked about that. Yeah, that was a question, and the concern that came up, was for things like, people making guns from manufactured parts in like an individual basis, where you grab a part here, a part here, a part here, and are able to
Right.
assemble your own weapon.
And actually now that I wonder, because we're not addressing the manufacturing of firearms, whether that by default or lack of mention will be an allowable home business.
We say it's not accessory use, but I don't know if you mentioned it.
We don't, no, but we don't say manufacturing firearms. We don't talk about it.
Yeah, but I think, wait a minute, that was discussed. Let me just,
Not manufacturing firearms. We have no.
No.
This section does not just talk about manufacturing.
you're
firearms.
correct, the home business, like. Home businesses, I think, and we just, and it was,
Towards the end.
yeah,
That's accessory use. It's 7.2.10. Principal use.
Yeah.
accessory use.
so gunsmithing,
That's not manufacturing.
right, is not manufacturing. So all firearms businesses, the principal is,
Firearm businesses is not manufacturing.
right,
So this does not say that manufacturing can't be a home business.
that's correct, it does not. It
I'm
should-
just saying,
Maybe we
I'm
should.
not sure I care one way or another, I'm just saying we should understand that.
You are correct, and if, I think it's something the board should decide if they wanna, we could add that in there easily.
Well, I believe that was the intent of this draft was to exclude accessory uses of these activities.
Right,
So I think that's just an oversight of the text.
well, should we just put in there, we can add in there and we just put, shall not be allowed, on 7-10. All firearms businesses shall be principal uses for the, purposes of the zoning bylaw. Firearms and shooting ranges, and we could put firearms or manufacturing, we could put firearm manufacturing.
But I thought this new definition of the light manufacturing,
Well, the light manufacturing does.
it says that light manufacturing does not include firearms.
Right,
So
well,
how, I don't think someone can have a home-based business of light manufacturing that includes firearm accessory assembly, because light manufacturing says not including firearm assembly.
well, that's true too.
It just means the definition doesn't include that. I'm just saying, we don't have a definition of firearms assembly.
Okay, well, Bill, from my understanding, the intent of the committee working on this was that firearm assembly should not be allowed as a home-based business. So I would, my perspective would be to update 7-10 to make it clear.
7-10 to, and add something that says, this includes. This specifically includes firearm manufacturing?
Yeah, you're the expert in writing these, so
I mean, is that what the board's thinking? Stuff, something in there, okay.
I mean, that was the intent of.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
So,
Yeah, our intent is manufacturing of firearms to be allowed where we allow manufacturing.
under a proper business establishment,
Yeah.
and that's it.
So if I'll put firearms manufacturing.
Yeah.
And that should take care of that.
And the other question about the definitions involves the shooting range, both indoor and outdoor.
Okay.
And it talks about sport shooting, but sport shooting includes archery and crossbows. Is that the intent?
No,
And I think it would be helpful that these definitions include, specifically exclude archery, crossbows, stuff like that.
So you're saying that archery and crossbow would not fall under shooting range?
So if
I
someone,
think that's our intent.
so if someone wanted to set up an outdoor shooting range for only those, that would be fine?
It would not apply to these definitions.
like if somebody has an archery range, I don't think
I used
it's.
to have one. Growing up, I had one.
Well, why don't we just do this? If that's the case, is a bow and arrow is not a firearm, right?
Yeah,
By our-
but a crossbow,
By our definition, it's still not, no, because it
Right,
does.
but you're saying that's shooting, you're saying designed for sport shooting.
No.
Sport shooting.
Work with me, hold on, you're right, you're absolutely right. But wait, okay, so if a firearm we know is not like a crossbow, right? Or a bow and arrow. So what if we said, shooting range, enclosed building with roof for use of firearms in, or other firearms, we said. So it was clear that it was just firearms that we're talking about there.
I think the intent was not, it was to focus on our definition of firearms.
Mhm.
So if we can make that clear under both indoor and outdoor shooting range, I think that's the point here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bill. I think it, we're really wanting to say it's an enclosed building designed for sport shooting with firearms.
Okay.
Yeah, if that does it, that doesn't.
that's fine with me. I'd like to point out that crossbows are lumped in with firearms in a lot of places.
Well, should we put crossbows in
I
there?
don't,
No, I want to defer back to the MGL.
Okay,
And then the planning board will have to discuss that at a later time for a special permit here.
crossbow, Yeah.
Like, that's not the intent of what we're doing here, like, we're
Okay.
trying to reference back to the MGL.
right. Well, that's, okay, these are all good, excellent
The MGL
changes.
Change, and then.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah,
So I don't want to get overly prescriptive either.
right.
Mr. Crenshaw, do you have more?
The questions I had on the amendment to the definitions.
Where you at, Bill?
Have some questions about the others.
Let's pause. Jim, do you have any, questions or comments at this time?
No, I think you guys have cut it all. Thank you.
Please speak up, Jim, if you have something to add.
I shall. Thank you, Chris.
All right. Just for a chance for others, does anyone else have any thoughts on this before we go back to Bill Crenshaw? Okay, all right, Bill, keep going.
Okay, 7221, under station requirement. I'm always confused by the definition of private and public school. Are we comfortable with what that means? And I'm wondering why we're just not using the same definitions in the text that we use for liquor stores and pawn shops.
Tell me about the differences.
I thought we,
They're different, that's all.
We'll see.
But the word private school gives me pause, because I could homeschool, right? So that's a private school, I don't know. Is it?
I don't think so.
We don't think so, but, you know, we're writing new zoning bylaws, so it should be understandable.
Shall I look up what we say about liquor stores? Cause I don't remember.
Yeah, and whatever we said about pot shop.
I don't think we,
That's specific stuff.
I think we got it here, but
State definitions of schools.
Homeschooling is done in a residence, so I don't think that that is actually a concern, but I do understand what you're saying.
Childcare centers, daycare, yeah. I can just pop up.
we. I don't know if we do liquor in this. I think that's in the bylaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, marijuana, here's how we define it for, retailers. No marijuana, establishment shall be located within 300 feet of a pre-existing public or private school, providing education in kindergarten or any of grades 1 through 12. That's for marijuana. And what did we say? We said,
So it's different.
Only a little bit, but still a little.
oh, yeah, well, that was something that we, when we were tweaking it, there was some input that adding the kindergarten as childcare, what is a daycare and playgrounds and athletic fields.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I want it to be more restrictive.
Yeah, I think we did bandy that one around, and that's what they came up with.
so the marijuana references private and public school.
Yeah. Matter of fact, and the distance is the same thing we did too.
And we wanna add childcare, daycare, playgrounds and athletic.
That was the consensus of the working group.
I say yes. I know that home base, I mean, daycares can pop up more easily, but hey, something else that they need to consider. They can't move in next door to a firearms business.
Okay,
Well,
how does that work on a renewal? You get a special permit to open a firearm business. And then daycare moves in within 300 feet, and then you come up for renewal.
That's been covered.
So there's a procedure for that?
Yeah, it might even be in the zoning bylaws. That's,
This does say.
yeah, that's like zoning law, like if you know,
Okay.
yeah. But I
All right, so no, I was just wondering about
yeah,
consistency among the bylaws, that definition. For this one. Question on number 3.
Okay.
It says no firearms business or shooting range shall be located within hundred and fifty feet of another firearm business or shooting range. And I understand that's very important, but what if it's under common ownership? It's a firearm business with a shooting range,
That's addressed in here. That's,
is it?
yeah, that's under,
Say within another.
yeah,
It's not
We-
addressed in the spacing requirements section.
no, not, it's not, wait a minute. It's, yeah, that one we went over.
We're talking about the next section,
It's in there because we talked about if, I remember.
the shooting range within a firearm.
Yeah, somewhere it's in there,
It's the next section, 7.2.3.
7.2.3.
Yeah, it's the next page, part 4, 5, and 6, I'll talk about within,
Oh, right, there, okay, yeah,
and it's just saying that you need a special permit.
that specifically. Let's see.
But are you saying next door to each other is not within? They'll be one door.
Shooting range with any firearm location. I mean, that's very common.
Or a firearm business within a shooting range.
And I would say if it's not in the same, who cares if it's under common ownership?
Yep.
If the goal is to keep businesses 150 feet apart, what do we care if it's if it's the same owner? I would say it doesn't matter. That'd be my thought.
Well, somebody selling weapons won't be able to have a range to test them.
No, they would. In the inside, it's in here, that's what I'm trying to find here.
Tell them to buy the place next door and put in an interior door. It's still one business front.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm trying to find where it is in here. We wrestled with that. Oh, it's under, you know, it's 7 to 10 includes it. It's in there under where we were just. A firearms business which includes an on-site shooting range shall be required to obtain a special permit authorizing this combined use.
Okay,
So if you have a firearms business and they want to have a range in there, fine. We get a special permit, has to say that that's okay.
Does that suggest that one's a principal use and one is a secondary use?
It was to address it, that because it is a circumstance that could arise, which is not in the spirit of what we're trying to do.
And
So by calling it out specifically,
And the spirit is that they're both considered, if that's the case, they're both considered principal uses.
they'd be,
Is that,
it would be, it would be really, I would say it's a principal use. And they're together in this case, but to avoid any confusion, it says it specifically, you make note of that in the bylaw. But but the spacing thing, I would say, it doesn't, what's the difference? Who owns it?
I agree. Do we care that section 7.2.3 references both shooting range indoor within a firearms business and separately a firearms business within a shooting range indoor? But 7.2.10 only references one of those.
Say it again?
I'm nitpicking.
yeah.
Let's fix it. It's,
So 7.2.10 says firearms business.
right,
Sorry. Firearms business, which includes an on-site shooting range, blah, blah, blah.
right,
But the previous section, 7.2.3.
right.
References both that, but also the opposite, which is a shooting range, which includes an on-site firearms business. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, oh, yeah.
I don't know if it, I mean, I'm just saying, if we're gonna be precise,
Shooter, yeah, that, we went over both of those.
can we say it or vice versa?
no, we want to write it the same way.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, they're both there, so. 5 and 6, you know, the way 5 and 6, 7.2.3, 5 and 6 are written. Can just be pasted into,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, I'm being.
Oh, no, you're saying that, okay, 5 and 6 call out that you need a special permit? Right,
Either way,
right, and that's fine.
and I'm saying if we're gonna reference it again in 7.2.10. Let's
Oh.
reference it either way.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, you're right, that's right, okay. So we'll. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so I get that one too. And then that makes it neat. And the thing I wanted to do with that, having it 10 was that addresses the thing about, is it accessory use or not? Takes it right out. Okay, good.
Yes, under 7.2.3, number 2. An existing firearms business or shooting range in operation time passage shall require a special permit for change of ownership.
So I'm thinking this is basically the rod and gun club, so. My reading is that none of this applies to the rod and gun club unless there's a change of ownership at rod and gun. Is that correct?
That was correct, but also it should read somewhere in there that if there's major changes to the design of the Rod and Gun Club, where they, I think it says, there's something about if the change in ownership is definite there. Oh, maybe not, maybe we didn't do it. I had taken out.
I'm just saying, the entirety of the remainder of the bylaw references things that have special permits, so.
I think the intent.
Oh, no, you know what it was? I know what it was, Bill, no. 7.2.3, number 1. Says that a firearms business or shooting range that is in operation at time passage shall be considered a pre-existing non-conforming use. And therefore is subject to the zoning bylaws as defined in section 5, which defines non-conforming uses. So there's a criteria. If you start altering stuff and changing it, expanding the uses and stuff like that, it could trigger a need for a special permit.
Alright, so
The key is defined in
change in
section
number
5.
1 or change in number 2 could trigger a special permit for
Right,
an existing
right,
firearm business gun club.
right. Section 5 doesn't mention a change in ownership as a trigger. No pun intended.
Okay. So. With that in mind. Some of the special permit conditions required would seem to be problematic
Okay, let's,
to an operation that runs similar to how a gun club currently runs. If they ever had to pull a special permit.
if they had to pull a special permit and there were conditions that were problematic, that would be something that would be addressed at the time of the public hearing, I would think.
Yes, but these special permit conditions are mandatory, these are not for consideration.
Well,
So for example,
right,
Number 4.
special permit condition 7291,
okay,
the shooting range has to be indoors. Actually, don't know what it is. They're on gun club, but every gun club I went to, it's outdoors.
We have one of each.
They have
All right,
a-
so if that site needed a special permit because of a change of ownership or a change of facility design, they would no longer be able to operate their outdoor range.
I don't think the facility design necessarily. I say, because it doesn't talk about, it talks about the use.
All right, so, yeah, all right.
So that, I think, if you said now all of a sudden we wanna authorize, I don't know, I can't think of a good example,
Car
but
repair.
yeah, I think that,
But I'm just saying, if somehow that property ends up needing a special permit, they would no longer be able to operate an outdoor range under this bylaw.
Is that true, or is it only if they're making large changes to their outdoor range?
No, I'm just saying, if
Or you're saying
they
if they,
require a special permit, anything that requires a special permit has to abide by 7.2.9.
that's true, but that's only things that, oh crap, are as defined in section 5.
Or a change of ownership.
So you're saying if there's a change of ownership,
They now have to be special permit process.
but what about a shooting range outdoor that is not in operation at the time of passage of this bylaw shall not be allowed? But you're saying if there's a change of ownership, then they can't have an outdoor.
They no longer can have it.
Yeah, I see what Bill's saying. He's saying because, because there's, if there was a change in ownership. Just, which we want to have.
Yeah.
That trigger,
The change in ownership does not go back to section 5.
that's correct.
That's what, I think that's the crux of this, right?
Right.
That's what I meant, or
Yeah.
section 5 could end up requiring a special permit,
Right.
ultimately.
But
Well-
that could cover some nonconformities, but not all of them. So.
No, yeah, I see, you're right.
So if somehow it ends up needing a special permit, there's some things you can't do anymore. Outdoor range, the time of day requirement in section 3 wouldn't work for them. And the age of the visitors under number 4 wouldn't work for them.
So then, why don't we do this? Why don't we under 7.29? Before we go to 1, why don't we just say that the planning board as the SPGA. Unless otherwise amended by the SPGA, the following conditions shall apply. And then we just do that, and then it leaves you room right there,
Cause then if they change owners, we're allowed to say, okay, you can keep the,
just like we do with parking, yeah.
right, you can keep,
So if we just added a condition that said under 7.29 before we went to the numbers. We said unless otherwise. Authorized by the SPGA. The following conditions shall apply to all special permits. And that gives you wiggle room for that. And somebody says, wait a minute, we've had a range here outside forever. We wanna keep our outdoor range.
but maybe we say, no, you're asking for permission to rebuild your outdoor range because, you need to, and we've decided.
But that gives you the room to do it. Do you like that?
That works as long as it also covers number 4. I've been to.
Yeah.
Birthday,
Yeah.
I've been to birthday parties, I've been to dance recitals for the Rod and Gun Club's outdoor activity space there. And there's a lot of people under 18, right? That may not be accompanied by their guardian. And that's the current use, and it seems very fine to me.
Is the Rod and Gun Club defined as a firearms business or a shooting range?
They're defined as grandfathered in.
Yeah, it doesn't really, they don't, as far as I know, they don't sell guns there.
We do not sell guns.
As
They
far
have
as,
shooting range, but I'm just wondering because this is saying on the premises of the firearms business or shooting range. This is neither. There is a shooting range.
oh, this is a shooting range.
No, there's an outdoor one.
I mean, we would call that, so that's the use that they would, if they came in today,
It would be a shooting range.
right.
They sell ammunition. Well,
No, they
actually, it's a
don't.
membership, so I don't know if it's actually a sale
They
transaction.
do not sell ammunition.
They don't,
No.
they used to.
Well, my husband's a member. and
No,
he's
they
aware of
don't. Not used to.
I also remember.
They don't sell, they sell weapon, ammunition, or they don't?
Used to, but apparently, no.
They sell crossbows?
That's possible, yeah.
So it sounds like, Bill, you have a sense of.
That one I got, yeah, following conditions.
Well, and their lawyer looked at this, right?
Yeah,
Oh, it's okay. No blame words.
Well, it could have been applied to the current situation.
Well, that's their problem.
well, I think that's a good, I think this gives total safety for that now, if we put that in, I think.
All right, so let me throw one more at you though. Is there any of those special permit conditions that you would not want to be negotiable?
Well, that's a good question. Okay,
Why they're gonna try and make a case for drive-through windows?
Exactly.
We just say no. Oh, you're saying you don't want to.
No,
We
no,
don't- We
we,
can't always say no.
Well,
We have to have reasons.
are we just saying under 729 that that we would allow some consideration for current establishments that
Are in operation.
are in operation before this went in? Is that the intent here? It's not any,
Right,
it's not any trend, so if, say 2 years, say this passes and 2 years after, there's a firearms business that gets a special permit.
right.
We're not suggesting that if they change ownership, that they can then get different considerations for the special permit. We're only suggesting this for the Rod and Gun Club, right?
Can we change it to unless otherwise authorized by the, sorry,
We might be able to work it out as, you know,
for,
for new establishments or whatever.
for
these
businesses
apply.
in
Yeah,
operation
it's-
at the time of the passage of this bylaw, the SPGA may authorize otherwise.
So that's the point. What we
Yeah.
don't want is a new establishment to get a special permit and then change of ownership, and then they can get a different type of special permit.
Well, even with or without change of ownership, it wouldn't matter, just the first special permit,
Right,
they could come in and say, I want to drive through.
right. So we just have to add
That's what we
something
don't want to do.
to the 7.2.9, your little preamble sentence.
Yeah,
It's gonna have to include something that says for businesses in operation at the time of the passage of this bylaw, which is just the gun club. Right? So we will give otherwise authorization. Well, we can give otherwise authorization by the SPGA to,
It's pretty existing.
yeah, to a shooting range. We'll just say shooting range, right? In operation at the time of passage of the bylaw.
Right, yeah.
We don't have any firearms.
say it again, I lost this now, okay,
Sorry.
all right, so, this is on the preamble of
Yeah.
729.
Your new sentence that you're. gonna-
Okay, I got unless otherwise authorized by the SPGA, the following conditions shall apply to special permits.
Follow, okay, so instead of saying unless otherwise authorized by the SPGA, you're gonna say,
I would say the following apply to all new firearm business and shooting ranges. And for existing shooting ranges, the planning board can consider waivers. I hope that.
you're
I
usually
don't
better than
I don't
that.
have a worry. I didn't write this, so,
I
you
know.
know. I don't have-
Okay, following apply to firearms business shooting ranges.
I mean, the argument is we want it to apply to all new stuff, but an existing
Do not,
shooting range, we want to have
An existing-
consideration of.
An existing shooting range at the time of this.
yeah, the time of the bylaw, the time of the,
That's
We
it.
want to have the ability to consider modification.
You should make the Rod and Gun Club's lead council rewrite this. Put it on their dime, since they should have got this the first time.
okay,
Oh, you could say unless otherwise authorized for an existing shooting range at the time of the passage,
Nice.
the following shall apply to all special permits.
There you go.
Build up.
Yeah.
I'll write it down, I'll send it to you.
do you have it? Wait, or I can try, just tell me one more time if you just.
Wait, I lost it already, it's gone.
All right, Natalie will send to me tomorrow.
It was good, what did I say?
No.
Okay,
That's
great.
not recorded.
Okay, great.
It was unless otherwise
No,
authorized.
I'm on it, I'm on.
All right,
So let's just be very clear then. Does the intent here would then be to allow the board to consider modifications to the special permit of the Rod and Gun Club if they had to get a special permit?
Mm-hmm.
Is the board generally comfortable with?
Yes.
Given its existing use and understand the activity, sure.
So what happens if a commercial establishment purchases the shooting range and then opens it up for 24 hours a day? And the planning board will then But the planning board would have to agree to that. Right?
Correct. But we could say they could be open
Yeah.
at 7 AM. instead of
Yeah.
8 AM.
Yes,
So some planning board then. Okay.
well, when, yeah. Yeah, I think, what you got?
I wrote it down.
Oh, you did?
Um,
Oh, thank you, Natalie. Oh, I'm a papyrus, thank you. Thank you, Natalie.
Crenshaw, and what else? Anything else?
I think I'm done.
Yes.
Okay. Are there references in our bylaws to anything about shooting ranges? In terms of like the Board of Health?
No,
You have no other references in the bylaws to shooting ranges?
no,
Is it, this is the one.
Okay.
Board of Health might, I mean, I don't know if they have it in theirs. I don't think they do, though. I asked. We did ask them, they don't think they do anything with guns.
Okay. Indoor shooting ranges have like a lot of health implications, but I don't,
Indoor?
ventilation, like,
Oh,
it's, I mean, I realize that that's like maybe beyond our scope, but
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about the safety and liability amounts specifically.
think. And not in this, not the zoning, I don't think.
All right,
If, a special permit, here's what would happen though. You know, when we do a subdivision, like for example, if, when we approve it, we have to have that approved by, that goes to the health department anyway.
Mhm.
So something like this, we could just root through the health department too. And, you know, like
I just think
that,
it's important to throw some, I don't know, if we can put it in there or if we can just remember, but like,
well. If we don't put it in there, we,
indoor shooting ranges are like crazy bananas,
But they're also regulated at the state level.
are they?
yeah, all this is regulated
Very
state level.
heavily
Okay,
regulated.
but I'm just saying.
But I don't know about the health part, I don't know.
I don't have an answer to that specific thing,
Okay.
but.
Are you talking about
I'm
like
saying if we're-
fumes and stuff?
Yeah, and I'm talking about, if we're talking about security and saying, okay, we need to go to the police. And if we're talking about insurance, literally a specific amount is written in here,
Mhm.
I'm just saying,
Well, what would you suggest? What would you guys suggest?
I don't know, can we, when we ask them to. Special permit shall include the following information, and we have through I. Can we say something like? Health. Considerations. Of the, health. Precautions. As approved by the Maynard Board of Health or something?
I don't know if they have any. For
Well, if the
guns,
state has some, then they'll just use those, I don't know,
I don't know.
I mean, you could just say no, but I just.
Well, it's a good, no, I'm not, I don't wanna discount it.
So here's the, we'll ask it this way. If for another established business establishment. Would we have that type of language in there for, say, indoor air quality, health, for a restaurant or something like that?
Not normally. We did it, I'll tell you when we did do it, was a site specific. And the zoning board, we did, like where there, if there's somebody's working with chemicals, we said, but that's different, zoning board's different, yeah.
Yeah, but when we looked at the dog kennel, we looked at their soundproofing. I don't know, like.
No, but yeah, well, we did, and we also looked at, odors for the brewery.
Right,
Well, no, but I don't disagree, I'm saying I don't know what to write, and I don't know who we would have look at it,
All
but,
of those, though, they're not interior to the building, those would be exterior nuisances, so there would be.
right,
If odors were escaping the facility and then impacting, a neighbor property. I think that's how we've approached it in the past.
yeah, but that would be, then that might be a different issue altogether, that, yeah, that would, because like we could have, if somebody had a legal business right now and there was a fume coming from it.
Right.
We might say, remember the lady who said she can't stand the smell of coffee, what was it, somebody didn't like the smell of coffee? Really? And it was, and
and I know it's happened with pepper sauce and stuff, so.
So that does bring up one question I had was, I did not see, noise in here as a consideration for a special permit criteria.
Well, didn't we put that the special permit criteria is, let me see here.
It's ours. That's all it is.
No, I think that's in everybody's. That's in for every special permit.
Okay.
I think if I allude in there to the special permit under, you know, like, let's see, here we go. Special permit, under, section 7.2, no, it's not it.
Okay, so we're referencing back to the special permit criteria,
Well, yeah, right, exactly.
but do we explicitly say that in this?
I thought we did, but I don't see it. That would be something we want to add for sure.
Yeah, I would prefer it to be very clear that special permit needs to consider this also with our general special permit criteria.
Yeah, it's,
Not seen it, but
I could have sworn, but it's. I have,
7281, I thought it was covered in there, it says, in addition to determining compliance with requirements and conditions of this article and all other sections of zoning bylaw.
let's add something. I can work that in there.
Or it could be there.
Just put, it's just easy enough that within applicable sections of the bylaw, under 7.2.8.
that's
It's,
the right place to put it here, yeah.
Well, there's 729, it's conditions, but that's the conditions. of-
Yeah, either one, yeah.
because I mean theoretically, if it was in a downtown overlay district, it would have to have that too.
Right, but that's site specific. So yeah,
No, but we have a special permit criteria too. Right, yeah,
well, I'm saying that's location specific, though, because it's in the DOD.
make sure, okay, so I'll make sure. Special permit. Okay. Huh?
You could also consider how, if the Board of Health, comment from Natalie can get rolled into that, I don't know how, but maybe put some thought to it.
Well, I mean,
Permanent requirements of all applicable agencies of the Commonwealth and the town. So I guess it's in there.
And we do, special permits are typically sent around for review by department, so.
Great.
but I mean, like right now, if we, I don't know, I mean, I think it's a good idea, but I don't know if they're even. I don't know.
If I was gonna add that, I would add it to 724 right after D, where it says proposed security precautions as approved by Maynard Police. I would just say proposed health
7.
precautions as approved by Maynard Board of Health.
Where's that, Bill? I'm sorry. 7,
724 and, just basically copying D. And referencing the word health and health department.
724C. Oh, D.
242 D.
Yeah.
Yes, they have to have a security plan that gets stamped by the police, right? So
Yeah.
why can't they just have a health plan that gets stamped by the Board of Health?
Oh, because I don't know that they're, I'll ask.
Board of Health doesn't have a requirement, the Board of Health just reviews their plan and says, good enough.
I don't know if they can do that.
Because that's what the police department is doing. The police department does that.
I'll ask, I'll check, I'll research that tomorrow.
I also wanted to be similar to how we handle other special permits too, so if there's a way to. You know,
Well, marijuana requires a sign off from the health department, don't they?
We've had other things that require sign offs from the health department. Maybe it was the daycare. I don't remember.
We would only do that in the zoning bylaw, I think, if it is required by state.
I get that the Board of Health might not be prepared, but it's a shooting range. I feel like they can be involved. It's kind of a health issue, right?
Well, it says its compliance shall be determined by the Maine Police Department. So it says in 7.28, findings, number C. provides adequate security measures to ensure that no owner or employee of the firearm business or shooting range will pose a threat to the health or safety of other individuals.
Well, that's just about the owner employee.
But other individuals, and it would be compliance shall be determined by the Maine Police Department, so there's the health, they're not the Board of Health.
Maybe you can ask Ivan what he thinks.
I'll ask Ivan, and if you guys, and basically what you would like to do is have a Board of Health, okay, but I asked Ivan, but I started at one point, I think we did talk to Board of Health originally, but I can't remember for sure. And they said we don't have anything for guns, but I'll find out,
Yeah, if you could just be prepared to report back to us.
Yeah, yeah.
Any further comments on this,
No.
folks? Fine, folks. Jim, anything to add?
Nope, fine.
I'll open up the public comments. I'll start with members. So members that are online, if you could use either the raise hand feature to provide public comment, or just show your video and raise your hand and we'll call on members individually. I'll take public comment here in town hall as well.
That's neat.
All right, well, I'll leave public comment open for now, as we'll talk about some more administrative stuff. If a public comment does come up, please raise your hand. So is there anything else to discuss tonight, Bill, for this item?
No, tomorrow. I'm going to try to, I will get, see if we can do the 13th for everything. I'll try to get on the 13th.
All right, I will make a motion to continue this hearing to February 13th at 17th.
Second that.
Jim seconds, okay.
All in favor for the continuance, please, we have to do voice vote, so, Jim, how do you vote?
Yep.
Bill?
Yes.
Natalie?
Yeah.
I'm a yes, and that,
Yes.
Jeff, you don't need to vote. Sorry.
Okay, that's,
Mr. Chairman, point of
Yes,
order.
sir. Yes. Yes, Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, you have to adjourn the hearings for tonight.
Thanks, Jim. As always, I'll make a motion to adjourn the hearing for this evening.
no,
No.
no, we haven't done the water supply.
No, you're adjourning the hearing, not the,
Oh, sorry, okay, all right.
I thought that was a separate hearing.
Gotcha.
Do I have a second?
we have a second.
Okay. All in favor by voice, Jim,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
I don't know if this patient, Natalie?
Yeah.
Yes, this is for me.
Yes.
Annette. You. Annette Benton over here. Okay, so that's item 2. Let's move on to item 3. This will, I'll open up the public hearing for item 3, a public hearing for the zoning text amendment for site plan review within the Water Supply Protection District. This is referencing section 10.5.1 of our zoning bylaws. Bill, would you like to give us some background on this?
Sure. Thanks, Leslie. This was, we found this quite by accident. Zone 2 of our water supply protection district is quite extensive, and you've, I'm sure, all seen it in the zoning bylaws. There is a provision in the site plan requirements. This is all zone 2, all the green. That any construction in zone 2 requires site plan review, and that will be in like most of our neighborhoods. And we realized, Rick was looking through it, he's like, wait a minute, this. And so we, after looking back, the only thing we could figure is that it was a Scrivener's error. And zone 1 should be site plan review for anything that goes on there, and that's 400 feet of our wells. But zone two would be like our entire, our neighborhoods, so. While site plan review still would apply for our any. Of the other criteria, it would not just because you have any structure. In zone two of the water supply district, so what the proposed amendment. Adds is that specifically. Any building or special permit for property. That it's occurs in zone one. And so that would clarify that and make. The idea of like, I don't know. 7,000 site plans would be, you know. So,
And so what we're doing is we're adding the underlined language
yeah, we just,
that add, like, the words are zone one of,
that's correct,
that's what we're adding,
that's it.
references. Because otherwise it defaults to the entire water supply protection district, which could potentially include zone two.
It would include zone two.
Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Any discussion on this item? I'll open this item up for public comment. If there's public comments online, please use the raise hand feature or just come off of, your video and raise your hand. And I'll leave public comment open for the remainder of this hearing. Okay, hearing, no discussion, I presume everyone's fine with this article, so, I'll make a motion. What's the motion here, Bill?
To recommend approval of town meeting.
Okay, I'll make a recommendation, sorry, I'll make a motion to recommend this zoning text amendment to town meeting. Do I have a second?
Second that,
All in favor by voice, Jim,
yes,
Bill,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes,
I'm a yes, and Annette.
Yes,
Yes, that's it. And do I have to close that hearing?
yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to close the hearing. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor to close the hearing, the public hearing by voice, Jim,
yes,
Bill,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
I'm a yes, and Annette.
yes.
Planner update, Bill.
Well, huh?
It's not on the agenda.
Yeah, cause I didn't,
Okay, great,
I don't really have much
great.
tonight.
Okay, fine. Thanks, everyone. Jim, thanks for joining online tonight.
thank you for having me.
Thanks, everybody.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second that,
Okay. All in favor by voice, Jim,
yes,
Bill,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
I say yes, and
And that says yes.
that's it. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
you bet.
Look at the ZBA.
Bill, would you mind, launching the recording?
Okay. I'll see if we can get this. For February 13th. Good. There's that. Shoot. Silly girl.
Yeah.